Today we're going to be taking a look at the medieval apothecary shop from LumiBricks. This set is ages 12 and up. It contains 1,470 pieces, and on their website it retails for only $80 US. Now, before I go any further, I do have to make it clear that I did get this set for free, and I am very aware that when you get something for free, it is impossible to be 100% unbiased. However, I will still try my hardest to make an authentic and critical review. But anyways, if you guys didn't know, I've never really talked about this before, but second to Lego Star Wars, Castle is by far my favorite theme. I love the old Castle sets, I love Lord of the Rings sets, I even love the old Viking sets. Really just any set that has something to do with history, I'm a huge fan of. It's always been my second favorite theme behind Star Wars, so being able to take a look at a set like this, for me personally, is very exciting. And also, the thing that sets LumiBricks apart from other brick building companies is that they actually have light kits built into all of their sets, which we'll take a look at later. But back to the box, one thing I want to say before we actually open the set is that on the front box art here, I'm actually a pretty big fan of this like extreme depth of field with how the background is blurry and then the actual set itself is in the main focus, because it makes it look like it's an actual miniature model and not just a toy fitting into an environment, if that makes sense. But unfortunately, aside from the front, the rest of the box is pretty boring. There's no artwork or anything on either side, and then on the very back you're just gonna have two small pictures that showcase the set when it's lit up. But now actually opening up the box and digging in, on the inside you're gonna find a very large and thick instruction manual along with multiple numbered bags and a little orange box that contains the light kit. And then right inside the instruction manual in the first few pages, you're going to have some pictures showcasing some artwork of the actual apothecary shop itself. And then you're going to have this bag right here that contains the minifigure cloth pieces along with a sticker sheet. Now, taking a look at the minifigures here, they are rough. Minifigures are definitely not LumiBricks' strong suit. They're goofy, they're cartoonish looking, and they're just not very appealing. And they're also pretty tedious to build too, because you actually have to put them together entirely. Their legs, their hands, their arms, and everything. Although one thing I really do want to applaud though is the cape and hood on the wizard dude here, because he literally has a cloth hood that goes around his head and his hairpiece. This is something I've never seen in any type of official set before. I know custom minifigure companies make hoods sometimes, but I've never seen it in an official set like this, let alone a Lego set. So I do to applaud that because it is actually pretty innovative and looks really cool in my opinion. However, aside from that, again, the minifigures themselves are definitely not this company's strong suit. But fortunately, the actual build itself is compatible with real Lego minifigures, so that kind of makes up for it. Along with putting together the minifigures, another tedious part about this set is the actual light kit itself, because throughout the build there are multiple steps where you obviously have to route the wiring. And don't get me wrong, the instructions are extremely clear on this. It's really well put together. It's so specific that it even tells you the exact studs to put the wires through. However, still just dealing with wires like this in general is just pretty tedious. And after a while, I did kind of personally just find this kind of annoying. However, I do have to say that the end result and actually seeing this set light up was very satisfying. Spending all that time tediously wiring this set and then seeing it actually light up and work how it's supposed to was definitely really nice. It was kind of like seeing something you worked hard on actually work how it's supposed to. And in person, I do have to say the lighting is actually really cool. In the pictures on the back of the box and the pictures online, it didn't really appeal to me that much. I was like, I guess that's a cool feature, but actually seeing it in person and flipping the switch myself and seeing what I built come to life is again just really satisfying. I think it's actually a neat feature when you have it in person. And if you're wondering, all of the cables are plugged into this battery pack that's literally just mounted on the back side of the build right here, which I think is kind of funny, but I mean, it's on the back side, so if you're displaying this set, this is definitely the side that you would face towards the wall or something. But now taking a look at the actual build itself, without the lights on, it looks really good. The medieval architecture with the wood framing and everything is so highly detailed and just honestly really surprised me. Again, I'm a big castle and medieval guy, so again, I might just have a bias towards sets like this, but I can't lie, it's just a pretty looking model. From the sort of shag leaf roof to the wood framing on the side, all the way down to the bottom, it is highly detailed. And speaking of the bottom, down here there's going to be a little tent with a fireplace in it, and then a garden that's full of plants and literally has a grapevine in it. Now I'm gonna be honest, this was pretty frustrating to build because you have to like wrap the vine around the wood pole, but the end result is actually pretty cool, and it's just a nice creative thought to include this in the garden. And then along the walls you're gonna have a window with more nice wood framing and then some rock work here on the side with a little torch right here. And when you flip the lights on, the torch and the campfire inside the tent are the two aspects that light up down here. And then moving on to the right side, you're gonna have a door with a little sticker on the door handle, and as you'd expect, you can open this to get get a glimpse into the interior, which we'll take a look at here in a second. Although one flaw with this door is that sometimes when you open and close it, the bottom hinge right there kind of comes loose, and then when you close it back, it either doesn't turn or it doesn't close back all the way, and you kind of got to push that bottom hinge back in place for it to work. But then right above the door, you're going to have this flag with some stickers on it, and it's actually posable. The actual flagpole itself can move side to side, and then the flag can rock back and forth, so you can actually pose this kind of like it's blowing in the wind. And then this little doorway itself is highly detailed with a nice little wooden A-frame right here, and then some beautiful leaf roof texturing with sand green and dark green that just looks really good. Along the backside, there's more wood framing, but other than that, it's not as detailed because this is mainly where you're going to see some exposed wires. And then as I showed earlier, you're also going to see the battery pack back here. Moving on to the middle section of the outside right here, just more wood framing and some plants growing on the side that is very highly detailed and just looks very good, along with some windows. And if you're wondering, these windows can open from the inside, so if you want to display it that way, you can. And then on the very back side, you're going to see another window along with some more exposed wiring, and then a blank wall that actually opens up to access the interior. However, I'll show that here in a little bit. But now moving on to the very top of the build, in my opinion, this is easily the best looking section. Again, you have more of that shag leaf roofing. I guess that's what it's called. I don't know what else to call it, but regardless, it looks beautiful. The sand green and the dark green mix very well. And then you're also going to have a sort of crooked chimney top up here too that looks awesome, and then more of this nice woodwork with some A-frames and a window on either side. And then the actual top middle beam of the roof is slightly sloped upwards at an angle, just adding even more detail. Again, this top section up here, in my opinion, is easily the most intriguing and best looking part of this build. And then another cool thing about the roof is that it's not actually connected. As you can see on either side, both of these pieces can just easily lift up because they're just resting on there. And this is actually how you access the interior up here on the top floor, where on the inside you're going to find a little bed along with a fireplace and a sort of chandelier up here at the top. And then on the left side, there's going to be a small desk with a chair and a little piece of paper on here that has a sticker that resembles some type of writing. And then back in the corner here, there's going to be this grill looking thing with some twigs under it. And honestly, I don't know what this is supposed to be. If you know what it's supposed to resemble, let me know in the comments. And if you haven't guessed already, the parts up here that light up are both the fireplace and the chandelier. You also might have noticed this little hole in the floor with a ladder that leads down to the second floor right below it. And this is where we go back to that blank wall that I showed earlier. You just simply grab the handle right here and swing it open. And the interior on this floor is definitely not easy to access, which I find kind of disappointing. However, it is super detailed and very well thought out. It's basically a kitchen. You have a stove and multiple cups and bottles and bowls and everything. And then even this little air pump thing, I don't know what these are called, but that leads straight into the stove. The level of realism and thought put into this interior is pretty impressive. I'm not gonna lie, I applaud them for it. And then when you turn the lights on, the parts in this section that light up are a light at the top left corner and then the stove at the bottom right. And then moving on, you're gonna see the ladder on the wall that I mentioned earlier, along with a hole right below it that has another ladder that leads down to the bottom floor. And unlike the second floor, the bottom floor actually has much easier access because the entire top section simply just pops off right here, allowing a really good view into the bottom floor, where you're going to see a counter with a little sticker and booklet along with a scale right there on the right. And then on the other side here, you're going to see this shelf up at the top with lots of different bottles and bowls. However, as you can see, just like the bottles on the previous floor I showed, they have stickers on them, and I'm not gonna lie, putting the stickers on these bottles was pretty tedious. The other stickers I've showed didn't bother me that much, but these ones were just so small that it got to a point I was like, alright, I think these ones should be printed. But then that is all there is to see with this set. Overall, I do have to say, I am pleasantly surprised with this. Again, on the outside, the model is very pretty and very detailed, and for the millionth time, I'm a castle guy, so I might have some bias, but I think most of you guys will think this looks pretty good too. And when it comes to giving this set a rating out of 10 like I do with normal LEGO sets, it's kind of tricky because obviously this is the first one I've owned, so I don't really have anything to base it off of. But I do have to say the things I didn't like were obviously the minifigures because they're just ugly. And then again, I didn't really have a fun time routing all the wiring throughout the build. However, also again, the end result of the lighting is really good. So I'd say overall, if I had to rate my experience with this set out of 10, I'm thinking I'd give it a solid 8. The only actual real bad thing about this set is again the minifigures because they're just not good looking. But the set as a whole is really good, and I think if you're a castle fan like myself, you'd most likely enjoy this quite a bit. And again, it's only $80, which is an insanely cheap price for something like this. So if you want to buy it, I'll leave the link down in the description below. Let me know what you guys think about this set down in the comments. If you're new, please consider subscribing, and if you want to check out more of my videos, you can see on the screen right now.